Panther Nation, what's good? Welcome back to Two Fans in the Stands. I am your favorite armchair GM, CJ.
And y'all know what it is. I am your favorite couch scout extraordinaire, Tony. Come on one time. Let me bring it back. Let me bring it back, baby. Yes.
Cousin, you
Yes.
doing good tonight?
Man, hey, you know me, trying to shake a little honey from the tree, but hey, I'm here for the people. That's all I can tell you.
There you go.
I
There
am
you go.
here for people. What's up? What's happening with
Hey man, we got a good one for y'all tonight. We got a good one. As y'all saw in the thumbnail, we are on night 2 of a 2-night training camp preview special. Okay. And if you missed night 1, go over to What's Up Doug and check out the action over there where we were talking about the offense. Tonight we will be talking about the defense. And as the title said, defensive evolution. Okay. Can the Panthers defense evolve under Ejiro Evero in year 2 of his 3-4 scheme? Okay.
you? Yes,
And
sir.
as on Monday night, we had a panel of great guests over there. And we have the same for you tonight. We have an awesome panel, a lot of great people, and we're going to go ahead and get that started right now. Okay. So, the first panelist that we're bringing up is not new to Two Fans in the Stands. He has been over here a few times. Okay, y'all make sure y'all give it up for Tuan Don from the 704 Charlotte Bound Show. Tuan, what's good, buddy?
What's going on, man? Happy to be over here, man. This great discussion that we about to have tonight, man. On the defensive side of the ball, you know what I'm saying?
Sir.
I love the defense, no Diddy. You know what I'm saying? 704 Charlotte Bound Show, man. In the house, man. Represent my man Edge, Claire, and my man Ray. Also, Nick over there. So, man, I'm just
Sir.
an affiliate over here trying to get in where I fit in today, man. Shout out to y'all, bro.
Hey, we appreciate you
Already.
being here.
Already. We
Appreciate you
appreciate you
being
being
here.
here, dog.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
now going forward, everybody else, okay, is new to us. So here at Two Fans in the Stands, and we're new to them. This is our first time working together. But my good cousin Tony here sent out the invites, and they responded, and they are here, and we appreciate them for showing up. First off, we're going to start off with one half of Panthers on Tap. We have Curtis joining us. How you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us.
Gentlemen,
What's going
yeah,
on, Curtis?
thank you guys for having me. I've seen you guys from afar, and I appreciate you guys inviting us on tonight. Excited to talk a little bit of defense here. And again,
Oh
like we
yeah.
said, one half of Panthers on tap, and my colleague here will join us here shortly. But yeah, I'm excited. Excited to talk some football. We're what, a week away about from training camp starting
Yeah,
up, so let's do it.
Yes,
literally.
sir.
All right, all
Yes,
right.
sir.
Okay. And speaking of the other half of Panthers on tap, we have Bryson. Welcome, sir. How you doing?
I'm good, guys. Thank you for having us. Like you said, I'm the other half of Panthers on Tap. On Twitter, I go by at not Dave Canales, and that's how you can find me on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to be here, talk some defensive football with you guys, and just excited for football season to finally get here.
Hey,
Already.
appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. Also joining us, we have Ben from the Keep Purring podcast. How you doing, sir? And thank you for joining us.
What's going on, guys? How's it going? Man, I'm
What's
excited.
happening?
Doing
Thank you
good.
so much for having me on. Like Curtis was saying, I've watched you guys and have a lot of respect for what you do. And everybody on here, all the Panthers content creators, I know everybody works hard. So I'm just excited to be included and looking forward to talking defense. I'm typically more of an offensive minded guy, but it was fun to kind of dive a little deeper into the defense, kind of preparing for this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I'm one half of the Keep Purring podcast. My buddy Eric and I we've been doing it for a little over a year now, so we're still a little bit new to the game, but we're having a blast and just looking forward to the season training camp. We're just getting excited.
Okay. All
Already.
right. Bet, bet,
Already.
bet. Okay, we do have one more person that's with us right now, and they went away for a hot second, and we're gonna wait for them to come back real quick. But we can go ahead and get started with the questions. Okay. So like I always do, everybody in the chat, we appreciate you joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. Okay. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go and check out all these great panelists here. Go check out their channels, like, subscribe, follow them. Make sure you do all that. Okay. And we do have our other person back. All right. And this is our brother. Okay, this is our brother. He helps us out a lot. And we appreciate all his input. It is What's Up, Doug. See Dougie from What's Up, Doug. How you doing, sir? Hold on, we can't hear you, Doug.
My bad, man. I'm over here
Mute button is
energized. So let's go
undefeated.
ahead and pop. Hey, let's go ahead and this night one came great Raiders. Was on here.
Uh-oh. Okay. Have a little connection problem. Sorry. Okay, there you go, Doug. You back. Can you hear us, Doug?
My bad. Can y'all
Okay.
hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, like I said, let's
All
go
right.
ahead and get into night two, man. Let's go ahead.
All right. Okay. So now everybody in the chat, we're going to do this just a little different from my usual lives. Okay. So we have a certain set of questions that we're going to ask the panelists. But if you all have a question that you're dying to ask, we ask that you can ask the question in the chat. If you want us to pop it up on the screen, go ahead and throw it in with a little super chat, help the channel out, and we greatly appreciate you. Okay. But like I said, we got a set of questions that we got going on here. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the first question. Okay. And the first question is not that one, it's this one. Okay. It is the Dave Canales effect. All right. And Curtis, we're going to start off with you. This is going to be your question. All right. Has the Dave Canales effect spilled over to the defense?
Yeah, I'll kick us off here, and I'll start with this. I was a little bit of I don't know to start, to be honest with you, because it sounds like he's letting Evero take that ship and ride with it. I mean, Evero's bringing guys with him that came over from Denver, some guys he played with in LA with the Rams. So obviously, Evero's got his stamp on that side of the ball. But I took a quote away from Shaq Thompson when he was last interviewed. I think it was in mini camp, and he said that there's a lot of good energy in the building, and he could feel that early on, and he felt like that energy is how you build a good team and how you build cohesion and how you build a culture. So I think that is slowly spilling over, but I definitely think that Canales has taken a hands-off approach with that side of the ball. I know he's in on those meetings, but it sounds like he is letting Evero take the reins on that, which he should. Evero is a damn good defensive coordinator and soon to be probably head coach at some point. So I respect him for that. But I do think there's some spillover, and you can kind of see how Carolina has taken this approach. Derek Brown is the front and center of this organization, and I think Canales and Morgan has played a big role in that. And you see Derek Brown in almost every one of these things that they put out online. So they're taking that approach. But I definitely think there is some spilling over, and I'm sure that'll continue. But Evero is definitely the man in charge of that side of the ball, and I think Canales will try to grow that energy as we get here into camp and into the season.
Okay. All right, cool. So let me open this question up to everybody. If anybody want to tap in, y'all go right ahead.
I want to tap in on that. I thought everything Curtis said was perfect. The thing with has it flowed over? I'm not really sure because as I've been doing my show, people have different feelings about Evero. In terms of his success. I thought he was a pretty successful coach coming in over from Denver to us. And I like the things that I saw last year because we weren't winning, then when you're a connoisseur of football, then you look for things to like good things, what I'm saying, that the team can build on. I thought the defense was good. The problem and the debate that comes up a lot when I've been discussing with people is people who think the defense wasn't as good last year was I said the offense they were 3 and out a ton. They were 3 and out a ton. The defense was, if you go back and look at the numbers, the defense was great in the first half. And they bottomed out in the second half because they couldn't keep that up. I mean, we all watched every game, man. You know what I'm saying? With the offense constantly been 3 and out. I mean, you can't catch your breath. I mean, I don't know, for those who haven't played football, you got all those heavy ass pads on and all that, man. It catches up to you at some point. And then a lot of people are spectators. You're going, "Oh, the defense is bad." It's not that they're not bad. It's the offense didn't help them out a lot. And so therefore you can't put that on Evero, and hopefully we'll see something different this year.
Okay. All right.
I'll jump in too. I think it was funny because exactly what Curtis said, I had that written down, like the Shaq Thompson interview, that presser. But I don't know. Did you guys see the Baker Mayfield? You know, he was on that podcast recently, like I think it was a couple days ago, where he was talking about Dave Canales.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I found that it was hilarious because he called Dave Canales, and I don't think I've ever heard this term before, but he called Dave Canales an optimist bully. And I was like, that's perfect because he is just that guy who always has a smile on his face, glass half full. And to some people that might be obnoxious, but the way Baker Mayfield explained it, it was like, at first you're like, okay, this guy's got to be full of shit. Like this can't be genuine, but it really seems like it is. And I think that with somebody in the head coach position who leads that way, you know, even though he's not directly over the defense, I think that it can't help but spill over on both sides of the ball. 100% Evero is in charge on that side of the ball, but and we'll see how it plays out on the field. We don't know yet, but I think just the vibes are good. We know that, you know, the vibes are good.
Okay.
And I think that Canales, you know, his personality and his leadership style is definitely going to rub off on people on the defense in a good way.
Okay. Gotcha. Anybody else?
I'll say I think I echo a lot of what everyone's said so far, but to play off of the interview that Ben was talking about, Baker was on Pardon My Take, and he talked about the consistency that Dave Canales brings day in and day out. And like Ben was saying, he doesn't change. He's the same every day. It doesn't matter what kind of day it is, what kind of play it was, if it was a bad play, if it was a good play. You know, it's all about the next play and being better than you were on the previous one. So I think just having that consistency, which we've lacked in Carolina from leadership back to the Matt Rule days, probably had it a little bit under Steve Wilkes, and then we all know the wrong decision they made there, moving on to the other head coach. So I think the consistency he's going to bring is definitely going to flow over to the defense. I do think he's going to let Evero kind of, you know, take the reins there and control the defensive aspect in regards to, you know, play calling and personnel and things like that. But I think his consistency at the top is really going to flow over to the defensive side of the ball in regards to the vibes and controlling the locker room and being that leader, that true leader that we've missed in Carolina for a long time.
Okay. All right. And real quick, we have another panelist that has joined us, and it's everybody's favorite Panthers beat writer, Miss Sheena Quick.
Aww,
How you doing?
that is so nice of you. I'm good. How are you?
What's happening, Sheena?
Doing good. How you doing today?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Doing good.
What up?
Doing good.
What's up, Sheena?
Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate you. All right. We kind of got into the questions already, and Sheena, we'll go ahead and ask you this question too. Let me go ahead and put the slide back up here. But we're asking about the Dave Canales effect, okay? And do you think that the Dave Canales effect has spilled over onto the defense yet?
I don't. I'm not going to say it hasn't. I'm just going to say that I haven't seen that it has. The defense, by all intents, to me, I feel like it kind of has taken a backseat, especially because there's so much on. Is Icky going to rebound? Is Bryce Young going to rebound? That a lot of people aren't really thinking about the defense because it wasn't necessarily the biggest glaring issue last year. But that defense is going to look very, very different. They lost 5 starters. When it comes, and even when we talk to Coach Canales, we talk mainly about offense, about Bryce's footwork, his timing, Icky, running backs, blocking, things like that, even with Eddie Pinheiro. But we haven't talked to him a lot about the defense. We haven't talked to Ejiro Evero this offseason. So I think it's a little bit early to say that effect is spilling over to the defensive side of the ball. But I've said this so many times. The Panthers, as of late, they've never had two things that match. If the defense is good, the offense can't score. If the offense can score, defense can't score. They always have peanut
Right.
butter, no jelly. You know what I mean? Milk, no cereal, things like that. And that's just kind of ham, no burger. You know,
Yeah.
Yes,
but
pretty
that's
much.
kind of been the issue. I think that put into we got to get this talent around Bryce Young. We got to get this talent around Bryce Young. And even though I'm going to just like blow him up for the sake of we don't want you guys to think that we're just neglecting the rest of the team and the rest of the needs of this team. But I would say that even things are being done behind the scenes. It hasn't been brought to our attention yet. It hasn't been, something that we've been able to see
Mm,
in OTAs or mandatory training camp just yet. I mean, it might change the first week of training camp. Who knows? But as of right now, I think the Canales effect has kind of been truncated to just the offense. It's kind of been focused on just the offense for right now.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I
Thank
can
you. Thank
Hey, CJ, can I go ahead?
you. Go ahead, Tony.
go
What you
ahead,
got, bro?
Doug. Go ahead. Go ahead, Doug.
No,
Go
I
ahead,
was
Doug.
gonna say I agree with Sheena because one thing, and I was with Bryson as well before Sheena came on. One thing that Dave analysis really emphasizes is I have defensive side of coaches. I don't have to worry about that. So everyone will just take care of basically have my back with the deep him being a episode whenever he was handshaking everybody. You saw that he wants to be relatable, not just on the offensive side, but also on the side of. So, like she just said, we really haven't seen it in the limelight as for the fans. Focus is the offense. So, yeah, I'm just really ready to see it. Like you said, are we really gonna be able to see it in training camp? And we really gonna be able to see him get it in dirty, be on that side, let it coach the offense. He can just sit back and say, well, let me look at it. No, Evero, let's stop here. This is that. So I definitely cannot see the training camp.
Okay. All
I
right.
mean, and
Got you.
to be
Got you.
fair, I think that, Evero being basically the defensive side of the ball being the only staff that was really retained from last year, I think he is trusting those guys to do what they do. And that's what, successful franchises have been able to do that. They don't have a head coach that has to feel like he has to have his hand on offense, hand on defense, hand on special teams. And maybe that's what we're seeing him do is to delegate and to lean on, some of those more veteran members of the staff. I don't even know if you can use the word veteran when it comes to the Panthers staff, just with all the turnover, but that's what I think he's doing early on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one
I
more
like
thing I
this.
want. It's one more thing I want to
Go
add to
ahead, Doug.
that too, and that's the thing with Evero is this. With like Sheena said, with Evero missing, I mean, with us losing five guys on the defense, right? Imagine what Evero can do for himself if he's successful with this defense. This man has the ability to adjust, as we've seen in the past. So if he can adjust with this new defense, and the defense is not the issue coming up year, then that's going to make him even more sought after. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
look, and him able to get some of his guys over like a Josie Jewell and people that understand his defense. So, it's a great opportunity for him as well to show what he got. You know what I'm saying? And say, look, I got more guys over here that are used to the way I run my defense. And if that defense is successful, I mean, then he's going to even be more sought after than he already is. You know what I'm saying? To go
Mm-hmm.
somewhere else when that time comes. Hopefully he'll stay with us for a couple of years while we have him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
All
that
right.
for me, the main thing that I look at when I see Dave Canales, I see that Pete Carroll effect. Pete Carroll brought Dave Canales into the league from the junior college out there in El Camino, California, stuff like that. So he gave him his start. He's truly from that branch of the tree. So when you think of Dave Canales and his personality and his infectious smile and his, always being upbeat and positivity and things like that, I just see a younger Pete Carroll when I see Dave Canales. We know when he exude that type of energy. Whether or not if has he affected the defense, I think like pretty much everybody has said that remains to be seen. I think he has the ability to do that because I think he's a younger coach and he's like more of a players coach. And I think a lot of players relate better to someone that can relate to them. You know what I mean? So I think he has shown that the ability to want to have a relationship with the players and not just be their coach, not on the field but also off the field as well. I was glad that they brought Evero back because of the continuity of the defense was going to create the some stability with this team with all the turmoil and all the turnover and everything on the offense side of the ball. It was great to bring Evero back along with his staff. And then when you talk about the players that left, the players that came in are guys that have either played with Evero in LA, have played in the 3-4 system, that understands this terminology. So I think that not having to reteach a whole defense to players that you brought in and they can get right in the mix with the players that you had last year, I think that bodes well for them.
Okay. All right, bet. All right, now we're gonna move on to question 2. And Sheena, we're gonna throw this one to you first. Okay. The secondary. All right. So we're gonna start with the secondary. We're gonna go to the linebackers and go to defensive line. What are your overall thoughts on the secondary?
Um, I wouldn't be opposed to them bringing in one more veteran cornerback just because the Panthers have such horrible luck when it comes to health in the secondary with injuries and things like that. And JC Horn, this might be the year that he gets over the hump and is able to be to play for a full season. He said that he did a lot of things different this offseason because what he was doing before obviously wasn't working, focusing more on weight
Mm,
training. I like the Dane Jackson addition. I know a lot of Panthers people could not stand Dante Jackson, but I don't think that he had a bad year coming off of an Achilles injury last year. I think he had a solid season. And you know how they say you don't know what you got till it's gone. Um,
Hmm.
he was somewhat of a veteran presence in that secondary. If they're able to bring Stephon Gilmore, which is getting later and later, closer and closer to training camp. Don't know what those odds are of him coming back to Carolina, but I expect them to play hard and fast. It depends on that pass rush. They're going to need the pass rush to be able to cover these NFC South receivers, especially if the Falcons remember that they have Kyle Pitts on their team. Like so far, they have it. They tend to forget that he's out there, and I think that bodes well for the Panthers. But if they remember that they have him on the team, that could be some matchup issues. They're a little thin at edge, which, of course, part of the pass rush. They're a little thin at edge, and that could be an issue. We're looking at the secondary and worried about the secondary, but pass rush could very well be an issue. I know a lot of people felt like Brian Burns was overrated. I don't think you're going to understand what he brought to that pass rush until you see what that team is like this season without him. But that's the thing. The secondary is only as good as the pass rush. You can only cover these guys for so long. And you do have some dynamic receivers that are in the NFC South. Not the greatest quarterbacks, but you do have some receivers that are a threat to have a big game. And so that's definitely a position that I don't know if they're going to add any more depth, but that's definitely a position that's going to have to rely on complementary defense.
okay. All right.
Okay.
Anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, I'll jump in too. Sheena made a great point about the pass rush. Um, just looking at the cornerback room like by itself, I think now assuming J.C. Horn actually stays healthy, and then you add Dane Jackson into the mix, like I think that we upgraded our cornerback room a little bit. If you look at some of the statistics, some of the metrics for Dane Jackson in comparison to Dante Jackson, like, and I know PFF that's just one place that you can go to look at these sorts of things, but like
Do
Dane
y'all really look at
Jackson's,
PFF like that?
I'd pay attention to it a little bit. I mean, I don't. It's not like I use
I'm
No,
just wondering, like, no
not
shade. I really
religiously.
was just wondering. Like, this is it's a genuine question.
I use it as like a baseline to because if I'm looking at like okay, for example, Dane Jackson's coverage grade was better than Dante Jackson's coverage grade last year. He had a 71.2 to Dante's 66. CJ Henderson, by comparison, was a 43.9 in coverage. So when I say that, like, I feel like we upgraded, I feel like Dane Jackson could be a better cornerback too than Dante Jackson was. But to Sheena's point too, like if we add somebody, like if we can add Gilmore or somebody else to that room, then I think it's really like we've really upgraded the room. But and then Troy Hill, like I would really like Troy Hill. I think he
He
had a
had a
good
solid season
season.
last year too, and
Yeah,
so did Boodle.
yeah, Boodle Hill.
DiCaprio.
Yeah.
So, and then Chow Smith Wade, the rookie, Chow Smith Wade. I
Mhm.
really like. He's intriguing. We'll see how he looks in camp and all that stuff. But I've heard a lot of good things about him. So I mean, I think it could be an upgraded room. But JC's got to stay healthy. And to Sheena's point, the pass rush is going to have a great impact on that too.
Oh yeah,
No doubt.
yeah. Anybody else want to
If I
chime
can
in on
Anybody?
jump
second
in
there?
just on Dane Jackson, I don't know a whole lot about him, and I don't know if a lot of us really do. Like this guy didn't have a major role in Buffalo. It looked like it increased this past season, where he had a couple picks and a couple passes defended. But this guy's never had a full-on starter role, so that concerns the hell out of me. Coming and we're talking about a J.C. Horn that couldn't stay healthy the last couple of years. They're banking on a lot of that on him. And then Troy Hill, I like the resigning. I was pushing for that. I think that guy, carved out a pretty good role last year in Evero's patchwork of a secondary. But let's not forget when we're going against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and some of these other guys in the division, and JC goes down. Carolina, there's pickings
It's an
behind them.
issue. It's an
It's
issue
scary.
immediately, and it's an issue. It's been an issue for the last 3 to 4 seasons, and for some reason, it never gets quite completely addressed. I think that job trying to address it this year, more so than in years past. But like you said, these aren't slouchy receivers in the NFC South.
Mm-mm.
Quarterbacks
Oh,
not so much, but these aren't slouchy receivers in the NFC South. Anybody is liable to have a big game.
And my concern too is Dan Morgan is banking off of Evero's expertise to do what he did last year. When you downgraded at edge, I think. I mean, your
I
your
mean,
edge your edge room it's pitiful besides
it
Clowney.
it's paper thin. DJ Johnson, the last we heard of him, he was leaving with his knee wrapped up. DJ Wanham's hasn't been available just yet. Amari Barno is out. And then when you look at all of those factors, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
Clowney. Like you said, Clowney. So I don't think that a lot of people realize how quietly the defensive side of the ball became an issue in the first couple.
Hmm.
Well, and Wanham rode the coattails of Hunter in Minnesota, so it's what
Yeah.
can he do when he's on an island type thing. So that's another concern. And he's not even healthy right now. He'll probably be a pup right out of training camp to start. So there's definitely
mm.
concerns. We're jumping ahead on questions. I'm sorry, but yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, y'all.
so I do want to
It's
add
all
something
good.
to that without
I
without jumping.
definitely interrupted.
No, I
It's
do
all
want to
good.
say
Go ahead,
something
Tuan.
without jumping too far ahead, and I don't know if I really see without going to. Okay, you guys discussed the offense yesterday, so I guess it's not going too far ahead. So I think some of the things that are going on. Well, first of all, I'm gonna make this statement: like we can't have it all. We can't have it all, and the reason why we're in this position is because of constantly having bad seasons, bad coaching, um, bad front office, bad GMs, and I told you, it seemed like the Carolina Panthers were the team where guys were coming to get rehabilitated and going off and getting their real bag somewhere else. Carolina was like this team where you go to get your money or whatever, get right, and go to another team. But the thing
Yeah.
is I think because of Bryce Young's him not having the season that they all thought he was going to have, they said we got to put money into this offensive line. And
That's
if you're going to
exactly what
spend the kind of
happened.
money, huh?
That's exactly what happened.
Right. When you spend all that money into the offensive line, then you can't do everything on defense that you want to do because it's like, so you want to protect Bryce Young or do you want to get a great defense? You know what I'm saying? So they decide to go on this side of the ball first. And if we're all thinking like, well, we're probably not going to go to the playoffs this year, then you have to start building somewhere first or whatever. So for a lot of people, this might be Bryce Young's last year. Then they want to see what Bryce really is. So they built
Yeah.
around him first.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, this
Yeah.
it was a 2-15 team. That this was not a one-off season fix. Like it was
Mhm.
not going to happen.
It's
They
never
weren't going
going
to
to be.
fix everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was never
Yeah.
going to be a one off season fix. It's definitely a project. Now I'm not going to give y'all the 7 year spiel that Matt Rule gave y'all,
No.
and I don't. Panthers fans deserve better than that. Ain't nobody got time to be waiting 7 years. But like you said, there were just so many issues, and you do have so much tied into Bryce Young. You have so much tied into Bryce Young that you have to protect your investment. You have to see what you really have because you couldn't even assess him last year
Right.
with everything else
Facts.
going on. So I mean, good point. Like you have to rob Peter to pay Paul until you can get right, figure out what this team's identity is going to be.
Okay.
That's
All
this is
right.
why we say, look, fans got to be patient. It's just not going to happen overnight like y'all think it
It's
is.
not.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that was a
Definitely
bad
not.
team last year. Like it was
Yep.
bad.
Mhm.
Had me embarrassed. Had me going on all national outlets talking about they were going to contend for the division.
We were all
I was
embarrassed.
embarrassed. You embarrassed me.
We all were.
Had me
We
hiding
all
from
were.
people in the grocery store and everything. But you said, I know what I
You said,
said.
Sheena, we need you on the show. She was like, nah, I can't do it no more.
Yes, like, had me
Yeah.
out here embarrassed like I was on the team. People
Wow, that's
were
crazy.
trolling me on Instagram, and I'm like, y'all do know I'm not on the team, right? I'm like
Right.
not a player. Just
Right.
FYI.
That's just what people
That's
do.
what's up. Hey, now Sheena, I know you're on a time crunch. Do you have time for one more question?
I could do one more. My flight was delayed, which kind of threw me off, but yeah,
Okay.
I
All
I,
right.
I
Go
can
ahead,
squeeze one
Tony.
more in.
All right. Go ahead, Tony.
All right. Well, we've already kind of touched on it on with the last question, but is Dane Jackson a lock at cornerback too? And if not, what other possible veterans could be an addition to the cornerback room?
I don't know what just happened to your audio, but it sounded like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh,
My
can you
It's
audio?
hear us
still
now?
doing it now. I don't know what's going
Uh-oh.
on. It's still doing it now. Do you other guys, does anybody else hear that?
I
Y'all
don't
hear
hear it.
my audio good?
No, I hear
Yeah.
it.
It's just me.
Yeah.
It must just be me. Oh my
I can't see
God.
you. We can't see you.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we
can't see
can't
you.
see you neither,
Yeah,
Sheena.
we
Yeah,
can.
that's crazy. I have no idea what
Can,
it what
can you hear us at least?
I don't know what's going on.
Can,
Okay.
can you at least hear us?
I'm gonna leave and come back. I'm gonna leave and come back, okay?
Okay. All right. I
Let's
got you.
see. Let's see.
Okay.
I lost
Well,
out here.
let me go ahead and I'll go ahead and throw that one to you, Ben. Go ahead and let you answer
Okay.
that one first.
Yeah. So I do think that Dane Jackson is a lock at cornerback too, unless we sign Stephon Gilmore.
Okay.
No, as like I mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, like and Curtis, valid point that Curtis made too. Like we haven't seen Dane Jackson in a full time starting role, so there is a lot of unknown there. And you can only go so much off of like these PFF things. I just kind of use it as a baseline, but I don't know, just based off of what I've seen, how I've heard Dan Morgan and company Evero talk about Dane Jackson, like I do think that he's a lock to be cornerback too. Unless we sign somebody else. But there's Sheena. She's back.
Okay.
Or something like
All
Alvin
right.
and the Chipmunks. I don't know what happened. It just was like it's really, really weird. Sorry. Sorry about that.
They don't want us to be great.
Listen, I know somebody gonna be in the
They,
comments saying that my connection's janky, but it's okay.
oh yeah,
David
they already
Pepper's
on you.
backing in here.
They already said.
They already
Somebody
on
already
you, Sheena.
said it.
Look, I'm full of
Okay.
jokes today. I don't think today's the day. I feel like
Uh-oh.
roast. It's been a while.
Clap
Uh-oh.
back. Clap
Uh-oh.
back then, Sheena.
I feel
All
like
right. Hey,
roasting today.
look,
She
we're
said she
gonna
got time
get back
today.
to you. Okay. Can you hear us good now? We'll put the
Yes.
question
Yeah, can
back
you
up
hear
again.
us?
Okay.
All
All right.
right.
Go ahead,
Was it
Tony.
about
Ask
Dane
it
Like,
again.
Jackson being a CB2?
Yes.
yeah, so we I know we kind of already touched on this on the last question, but is Dane Jackson a lock at cornerback too? And if not, what other possible veteran cornerback additions could be added?
And we
And
talked like you said, we touched on that a little bit earlier. Right now, I think as of today, July, what's today, 17th? I
Mhm.
do think he's a
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
lock at CB2.
Okay.
yeah,
Less than a week out from
okay,
camp,
Cool.
I do think he's a lock at CB2. Um, and again, like someone, it wasn't his name wasn't one that I was familiar with prior to him coming to Carolina, but just watching his film and things like that. Right now, he is CB2, but they're still in shorts. We got to see what happens when
Mhm.
those pads come on.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Hey,
right
can
right
I,
now
can I,
Okay.
everybody's optimistic at this time of the year. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can I ask Sheena a mini question? Mini question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What do you know that felt that happened with that with the Gilmore situation? Because I was really looking forward to him coming back.
I think they couldn't get the money right, and
Okay.
I think that the ineptitude of the front office and where he is in his career, he wants to be on a contender. Who wants to, you know, possibly downgrade their quality of life after football, get beat all up and get banged up for a team that
Mhm.
wins 3 games, 2 games. He's at a point in his career where he can be more like where he can use his own discretion, where he isn't like forced into a team or oh this is the only team. He can walk away from the game today and still
He'll
have
be
a
all right.
great career. But I
Mhm.
think what
That's right.
happened is the uncertainty, like with a lot of free agents, you don't know what coach is coming in here. You don't know what changes are going to be made. I think it kind of got left out on a limb. A lot of people, and sometimes in the front office, they take too much comfort in a player being back home. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean as people think it does.
Right.
It really truly
Yeah,
Mhm.
doesn't.
that
Like
money is. I got to
the
get my
money has to
chips.
be right. You got to, yeah. And then if
Facts.
you want to win another championship, is Carolina
Mhm.
in a position to go to the postseason? So I think that those were the
That
things
part.
that kind of
Yep.
factored into it. I do think he did want to come back to Carolina, but he's been around this game and he knows that there's a business side of it. He knew that there was some shuffling on in the coaching staff in the front office. He didn't know who was going to be in that coaching
Exactly.
room. So that's what I
Right.
think. I think those things kind of played into it, so to speak, because talking to him at the Pro Bowl that year, he did want to come back, but you know, it's just too much uncertainty, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Anybody else want to
Anybody
chime
else
in?
want to chime?
Oh, my bad, CJ. I beat you to punch.
You good though? You good? All right.
I'll be a little different. I'll be a little different.
Go ahead.
I think it's going to be more of an open competition. I think Dane Jackson was brought in to be that cornerback too, but you know, from a couple of guests we've had on our podcast, Mike Kay being one, this coaching staff really likes DiCaprio Boodle, and I know he's played well under Evero. And personally, I like Deshaun Jameson a lot, and I think he's got a lot of potential there. I remember him coming in
Yes.
He
his first,
does. He
yeah,
does. Everybody remembers him for that who did he lay out? Was it Kirk Cousins? It wasn't Kirk Cousins.
yeah, I think it
I think
was
it was
It
on
was Kirk Cousins.
yeah.
yeah, that same game he got they quote unquote burnt by Justin Jefferson, but he didn't get burnt really. I mean,
Yeah, I mean it's Justin Jefferson.
yeah.
Yeah, he came in. He came in. That was his first game starting, and I thought he played really well versus the
Yeah.
best wide receiver in the NFL. So,
Yeah, I
um,
think, and that's the thing. Like everybody was looking at that secondary position, kind of like we are right now, talking about the it wasn't as deep as we would have liked it to be, and things like that. But they answered the call, and that could very well end up being what happens again this year. You know,
Right.
stars are made every day. Everybody didn't
Yeah.
come in with a big name. Everybody didn't come in drafted and end up having 10, 11 year successful careers in all the positions. So the star might be rising in Carolina. We don't know. But I do think that, like you made a good point, they did answer that call last season. I think that both of them played pretty well. I think was it Boodle went down with an injury. I don't remember which game that was. It was a little later in the season.
Hmm.
But I do like the way that both of them stepped up. The reason I would give Jackson the edge is that's kind of what they paid him to come here to do. You
Hmm.
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
That part. Okay. Right. Everybody good on this question?
Man, I want, and I know Sheena got to leave soon. I gotta ask, have you laid eyes on, I'm everybody knows I'm Florida State alum, play football at Florida State. Have you laid eyes on Jamie Robinson? Because everybody got on me after his rookie year. I'm like, the dude wasn't gonna play much when he got to Carolina. You know what I'm saying? What is Jamie
Yeah.
looking like? And
Um,
does he like somebody that could take somebody's job later? Because he came in and said, saying like it wasn't 100 and something people better than him.
I mean,
and
I
I
think
know he's worked
everybody
there.
does that. They come in with
Right.
the chip on their shoulder, and it's kind of cliche. That's why I try to not ask those questions. Like, oh, do you
Mhm.
have a chip on your shoulder because you got drafted later? Of course, they have a chip on their shoulder.
Of
No one
course.
thinks that they're a seventh rounder. No one thinks that they should be a UDFA. I mean, that's just kind of what
Right.
it is. Of course, I'm rooting for Jamie because I am a Seminole at heart, so I'm gonna always root for Jamie and anybody else that played at Doak. But he looks decent so far. I mean, I don't feel like we got to see a lot in OTAs in minicamp as opposed to previous years. I
Hmm.
don't. And again, I think all the focus was on Bryce's footwork.
Hmm.
Ball looked like his deep ball, Deontay Johnson. You know, everybody was like, "Okay, where's Clowney? Okay, he's back. Okay, let's watch him." And the way that the media is set up, like as far as practice, the defensive backs are all the way in like the back left corner, so we don't get an upfront
Mm,
view of them. We get the
Okay.
running backs and the tight ends and the edges, and we get the offensive line. That's who we have right there in our faces. So
right.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
say nothing has stood out. I haven't seen any causes for concern yet. I just
Okay.
haven't been able to really observe that group as closely as I out. This question in 2 weeks is going to be. I'll be able to answer that a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
So
Okay.
I got to
You
get
know,
over the
you know
shoulder.
me. If I can't speak on it, I don't speak on it. I don't just talk to be talking. But yeah, they no seriously though they're like in the back left corner, like we
Mm,
cannot see them. And previously we would be able to walk around and watch, but because of the construction, we're
Hmm.
kind of concentrated in that one little area.
okay.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. Cool. 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 All right. So we're going to move on to the next position group. We're going to talk about the linebackers. All right. Go ahead, Doug.
All right. Tuan, I'm gonna hand this out to you first. The question is, what are your overall expectations for our linebackers going into 2024?
Um, I'm looking at who our linebackers are against. So we got Shaq Thompson, Josie Jewell, coming into. Well, he should be familiar with the way Evero plays. I don't think Wadham's going to wind up playing, and Jadavi. Well, I mean Clowney. I mean, to me, I look at Clowney like an edge, but they got him listed as a linebacker, like they did with
Yeah.
Brian Burns. And look, while Sheena is here, might I add that I hated that they tried to move Brian Burns back instead of leaving him on the line with his fingers in the dirt like he was good
Oh,
at.
they
But
had him dropping back into coverage.
yeah, man, look, people don't understand that. So, but I don't know,
I'm
man.
glad
Like
you brought that up because they keep calling me a
exactly,
Brian Burns apologist, and he only had 8.5 sacks. Y'all
yeah,
had that
man.
nigga dropping back in
He ain't
coverage.
no linebacker. Everybody, oh, he sucks, man, because he ain't used to doing that.
Killing
Well, I
people.
Um,
got to skate, guys. I'm sorry. I wish I
yeah,
could talk to y'all
Oh,
longer.
hey,
yeah.
no problem. Hey, well, real quick before you go, thank you, Sheena. We appreciate you coming on.
No
If you
problem.
want
Thank you
to
guys for
tell
having
everybody
me.
where to find you at.
Oh, y'all know y'all can find me in
Everywhere.
those mean streets of
Everywhere.
Twitter. Sheena_Marie3.
Okay.
Find me in the mean streets of Twitter. And Quick Blitz will be back for
Mhm.
our God. Is this like our fourth season? I think it's our fourth season. We'll be back. We're gonna try to get a fan event together during training camp since it's right
Okay.
there in Charlotte. So you guys
Okay.
stay tuned.
Oh yeah.
I'll make sure you guys get details on that once we
That'd
kind
be
of
dope.
solidify everything.
All
Real
right.
quick,
Hey,
Sheena,
and
are
again,
you going to be in
go ahead.
Germany?
I will be in Germany.
I'll be in Germany as well, so I see you there.
See you there. Bye,
All
guys.
right. Thank
All
you.
See
right.
ya.
All
Yeah,
right. All
man.
right.
Shout
All
out to
right.
Sheena, man.
So, Tuan, let me see. Were you done with the
No.
linebacker
So,
question?
yeah,
Go ahead.
like the linebacker room is tough, man, because we're not used to, like we've been running 4-3 for so many years. And but I believe it. I'll say this. I believe in
Mm-hmm.
Ejiro. Um, I just don't think that we got like these great blow your socks off linebackers over there. It seemed like they couldn't stay healthy. Shaq Thomas has been with us for a long time. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I don't believe in Shaq Thompson. I believe in his leadership and what he could and things that he could bring. My thing with Shaq Thompson really quickly is that sometimes it doesn't cross over, man. You had Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, And I guess injuries can't oversee that, but like you had two of the greatest, and I don't see him playing any better than the way that he is. So I think we get the linebackers, and we look better with the linebackers in the next draft. I think our linebacker class is like a C minus to me. Um, don't really see them making a lot of noise. And again, Jadeveon Clowney is a guy I'm used to seeing putting his fingers in the dirt. I don't know how it works out for him. And people say, well, he did it in Baltimore, I think, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
but he didn't make plays from back there, So the thing is, like, for me, I'm just so used to the 4-3 with us, you know what I'm saying? And I've seen incredible 3-4s when you know how to use it, and Evero supposedly knows how to use it, but the guys we got right now, I don't see a whole lot like of things like that we can. I'm looking at these names and how they play, and just from what I looked at them, and yeah, man,
Doesn't move the needle for you.
yeah, I don't see them. I don't see them like a big year at the linebacker spot, man. But hopefully that those guys up front will make their lives easier. Hopefully we'll see a lot of blitzes or something, man.
Okay. All right. All right, go ahead. Anybody else who want to chime in
CJ.
on linebackers?
Hey, CJ, can you
Go
hear me?
ahead. Yeah, I can hear you, Doug.
The question I would say this got me kind of cringing because Sheena allude to how we have starters that are not there anymore. But me personally, I think a Josie is better than a Frankie Louvu.
I can't really hear him because
Hold on, Doug. You going in and out, buddy. Okay, go ahead. Ask that again.
No, I would say, how does everybody feel about Josie Jewell compared to Frankie Louvu? I think Josie Jewell is a better linebacker than Frankie Louvu is. And if you look at the stats compared to when they played in Evero's scheme, Josie Jewell had the better year or better years than a Frankie Louvu.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll jump in on that because Curtis knows how big of a Josie Jewell fan I am. We did this little rankings of the 5 best players on the Panthers roster, and I had Jewell at 5, just because I'm a little bit biased, I guess. But Jewell, his best season he's had was under Evero in that system in Denver. I think he comes in, and I agree with Doug. I think he's better than Louvu was in Evero's system for this team. So I really like his leadership that he brings. I think he's an electric player like Louvu was. I was a big Louvu fan. I think we all were. He was a bright spot on a team that didn't have very many, but I like Jewell a lot, and I think Shaq Thompson was playing really well before he got injured last season. So with that and Jewell, and then the rookie Trevin Wallace coming in, Dan Morgan was pretty high on him, and I feel like if the record holder for most tackles in the Super Bowl linebacker likes you as a linebacker, there's something there. I think Wallace brings speed at the linebacker position that probably isn't there with the other two that I mentioned. So I think he'll fit in nice, and it's not going to be our best linebacking group we've ever had, no doubt about it. But I think that there is some promise there, and I'm excited to see Jewell in the system again under Evero because I think he's just so comfortable in it. I think it's just a natural fit, and he's going to surprise a lot of people.
I got 100% agree with Bryson on Jewell. I was gonna pop in and mention him too. As like, I think it was a couple weeks ago. I tweeted like I think Josie Jewell and Ashawn Robinson are going to be the two biggest, at least two of the biggest additions that we've made this offseason. You watch Blueprint, and you hear Jewell out there talking, and he's going to really be like a quarterback of the defense. And you listen to Shaq, like Shaq Thompson loves that guy. I remember hearing Shaq Thompson, he's like, "Oh, that's my guy, man. I love Josie." So that partnership there of Jewell and Thompson, I think, could be a really good thing for that group. To Tuan's point, like I'm not like super high on the unit, but I do think I'm excited to see what Trevin Wallace can do. But like Michael Barrett, and this is kind of I think one of our later questions. I'm going to mention Michael Barrett again, but I think he
Yeah.
could be like a sneaky contributor in his rookie year because I'll get into it later, but I like Michael Barrett. I think he was a good late round pick for us. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Shaq Thompson's got to stay healthy though. If either him or Jewel go down, it's not going to look pretty. That's for sure.
Gotcha. All right. Anybody else want to chime in on the linebackers
Yeah, I
as a whole?
just want to echo
Go ahead.
what Ben and go ahead, Curtis. You want to get in? Go ahead. I can wait.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. You're on it.
Okay. No, I would just echo what Ben and Bryson both said because when we signed Josie Jewell, one thing that I said that you need in a 3-4 defense, which is the core of the defense, is a strong nose tackle and a strong middle linebacker. The fact that we have a Josie Jewell now who could play the on-ball linebacker position and move Shaq back to the off-ball linebacker position, which is his more natural position, is a great benefit for the defense. Louisville was not a downhill, run the alley, clog the middle, take on the pulling guard type of linebacker like Josie Jewell is. You talking about someone that's instinctive. His instincts covers up for his lack of speed. He's not the fastest guy, but he read and processes offenses quickly, and he's able a lot of times to get to where the ball carrier is going to be before the pulling guard even tries to come and fill that lane. So I love the fact that he's a downhill thumper. He's a sure tackler. Like you guys mentioned, Trevin Wallace, for the fact that he was basically handpicked by Dan Morgan. When you talk about one of the greatest linebackers in Panther history that's played a lot of high caliber ball, college and pros, when he go out and put his name on the line for you, that means something in my book. But yeah, as far as Jadeveon Clowney and DJ Wonnum, you never know. You don't know with Wonnum because he is coming back from that quad injury. I think training camp is going to give everybody a gauge of what he possibly could be if he gets on the field. But that's the biggest question mark right now. I think everybody kind of has an idea what you'll get from Jadeveon Clowney, but DJ Wonnum is definitely a big question mark.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch on the edge rushers, but I will say the linebackers, they don't wow me. I think they'll do the job, but I don't think, when you get up as some of these, when they're tasked to go up against some of these good tight ends, whether it's in our division or outside of it, I worry about their speed. You got Shaq Thompson coming off a fractured ankle, a growing surgery he had in the offseason as well. He's 30 years old. He's getting up there. And I take stock in what my buddies say. I had a Broncos fan. I reached out to him when the Panthers signed him and said, "What are we getting out of this guy?" And he said he's going to pursue the ball well. He's going to get a lot of tackles, but he's not that fast. So when we got Josie Jewell lining up against a really good tight end, I'm a little concerned. So
Gotcha.
I was a big Frankie Louvu guy, but we'll see. I think there's, and it's funny that you guys said this, kind of alluding to some of the other questions, but I think every one of us in each of these questions has said, if this guy goes down, we're in trouble. The depth on defense is awful.
Yep,
so
right.
I think we can establish that.
Yeah.
Okay,
one of the things that I forgot who brought up Bennett, Michael Bennett. I would love to see him. Yeah, Barrett. I'm sorry. I would love to see him do great with the Carolina Panthers. I believe in him. I believe in the position that he played at Michigan. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with the term of a linebacker called the big nickel or the viper position on defense. And if you're not familiar with that, that's like a hybrid, the hybrid style of linebacker that can do linebacker duties and get over to help out cornerbacks, if they get beaten. And we already said, how does our cornerback room look? How does our linebacker room? And so a guy that with that skill could really help, opposed to a guy that only plays linebacker,
His versatility.
Right, his versatility. That's why I hope he really works out with us. I challenge people, man, look up what a Viper linebacker is, and what they do. We could have had one when with Chen. It just didn't work out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people don't like hybrid players, but that's the way the NFL is going now, bro. You got to be able to do more than one thing.
Facts.
Yeah.
That part.
Good point.
But hey, and real quick, I wanted to shout out Making True Money. He sent us a couple super chats. He said Dante averaged 2 to 4 interceptions a year, always got hurt early. And he also said everyone in our conference beat at least 2 teams that made it to the playoffs last year. So I could be alone to say we're the worst division. All right. So he was in the comments, wanting to know that we saw your super chats. And for everybody out there tonight, like I said earlier, you might have missed it. We have a set of questions. So if you do have a question that you really, really, really want to get in, send it to us in the chat, in the super chat, and we'll get it up here. But Make It True Money, we appreciate you. Thank you. And I didn't forget about you, big dog. Okay.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So let's go to let me see. Let's go to Ben. I'm gonna give you this question here,
Okay.
and it's going to be part 2 of our linebacker questions here.
Okay.
Okay. So pressure. All right. Can our outside linebackers get pressure on opposing quarterbacks in 2024? What you think?
Yeah. I'm worried. I'm worried, man.
Ben was having a woosah moment.
I was having.
I feel like Ben was like,
Thanks,
look,
man.
look, I want to say something nice.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on.
gonna be hard,
Ben said, damn it, that's the one question I didn't want him to
Please
ask.
don't ask me that.
Really? Come on, man. I had better answers for other ones.
Hey, you got a sensitive mic because we heard you. Hey,
Put me on the spot.
A sensitive mic. Yeah, you heard me heavy breathing there. No, I'm. This is the unit that I'm the most worried about. This unit. I mean, Clowney. I don't want to get into a whole Brian Burns discussion, but you know, a lot of fans are super focused on his statistics from last year, and the reality is, like, did we ever have a lead in a game last year? I mean, we were playing from behind almost the entire season. You know, I got Burns dropping back into coverage, like playing out of position. Like Clowney, I think, is definitely not a 1-for-1 replacement of Burns. The combination of Clowney and Wanham could be a good combo, but Wanham hasn't even touched the field yet. And like Curtis, I think, said earlier, he could start training camp out on the PUP list. I do think that I know this wasn't the question. I do think that Clowney is going to help our run defense. I do think that he's a better run stopper than Brian Burns. I think that's his strength. But something else that I kind of thought was cool, just to nerd out a little bit, ESPN, they have their pass rush win rate statistic. And this was kind of cool. I thought Clowney was actually tied for the 4th highest pass rush win rate percentage in the NFL. The only guys ahead of him, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, Will Anderson, TJ Watt. Those are the only guys that had higher pass rush win rate percentages than Jadeveon Clowney. So he proved that, like, when he's in a good, you know, situation like he was with the Ravens last year, that he can have success and he can get to the quarterback. So I think that's encouraging. I think outside of Clowney and Wanham, though, it's a lot of unproven guys. You know, I pulled up all the outside linebackers, all of their statistics and everything, and it's just a lot of unknowns outside of those 2 guys. And Wanham is kind of an unknown right now too, with his injuries, his injury that he's got going on. So, I to answer the question, which was, can our outside linebackers get pressure on opposing quarterbacks? I think they can. Do I think they will? I don't know.
I'm gonna just slide. Hey, B, I'm gonna just slide into one question into you. Do you think that right now on paper, these outside linebackers that we have right now would be able to get more pressure than what we had last year?
I think on paper, potentially, based on some of the statistics that I talked about, but it's so situational too. Like if we're playing from behind again every single game and teams are just running it down our throats, constantly and not having to pass the ball as much. And, we don't have as many pass rushing opportunities, then no. But I think to your question, on paper, I do think potentially we could see better production than what we had last year with the guys we have.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I had
All
to
right.
sneak that question in. I lose my train of
Yeah.
thought real quick.
Man,
Nah,
who is
good
our
question,
strength and
Tony.
conditioning coaches, man? Because we
Yeah.
cannot stay healthy. Bro,
Oh
I
my
want to know who
goodness.
that staff is, bro. Look, see, if you guys really remember, you remember the greatest strength and conditioning staff we had went to Buffalo, all of them. Old boy took the whole staff with him, and we ain't been right since.
Oh wow.
Didn't old boy get hit with some charges once he left?
All I know, all I know
Yeah,
is he took all our
the
health people.
former trainer for the Panthers, I can't remember his name. That was the longtime trainer for the Panthers.
Yeah,
Got hit about them PED or drug charges.
hey, it wasn't the
I think it was
players.
last year, the year before last. Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah. I think the Panthers
If you ain't
ended up
cheating, you ain't
releasing
trying.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, bro.
Hey.
Whatever helps.
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody else? Y'all want to chime in on the outside linebackers getting pressure?
Yeah, I'll chime in on kind of what Ben said in Clowney. I think Clowney can be pretty useful if Wanham is on the field because I think that's going to ease some pressure off him a little bit. He's still going to get double teamed, but Clowney, I think he said in one of the draft content or the blueprint episodes that this is kind of a similar system to what he was familiar with when he first came in the league in Houston, and he really enjoyed that defense and working matchups and finding mismatches. The problem is if Wanham starts the year off injured, you're not going to find mismatches. I mean, they're just going to double Clowney all day long, and we got DJ Johnson and some of these other bums trying to get pressure. So that's
Gross.
Dang, Curtis,
that's
say it
a
with your chest then.
that's my and the Chase on guy. We haven't even talked about him. He sounds like he's trying to prove himself and have a big year this year. I mean, first round pick, pretty much a bust at this point. Carolina's trying to rejuvenate Jaguars left and right here. So, and we see how CJ Anderson worked out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think this is our biggest concern. You have DJ Johnson, who sounds like he escaped a major injury in minicamp. You have Barno coming off of an ACL injury at the end of last season. You have Chase on, who didn't even show up for OTAs, and the guy who needs to prove himself didn't even show up for the voluntary stuff, and then showed up for minicamp. And then you got Wanham coming
Right.
off an injury, who's still nursing it, and then an aging Clowney who played in a really favorable system for him last year in Baltimore. The guy got a head coach job as DC, so he was doing something right. So yeah, I mean, I think if you're optimistic, if Wanham stays healthy, yeah. And then your second question about the pressures from last year, we also have to look at that season with a grain of salt. Who aside of Brian Burns do we have? Justin Houston, YGM, and Marquise Haynes. None of those guys are getting 6, 7, 8 sacks a season. So I don't think it's fair to compare last year. I know there's always going to be the comparison with Brian Burns, but yeah, of course they'll probably have more pressure if those guys stay healthy this season with Wanham and Clowney, just based off their numbers last year. If you're
Right.
going with the math on that, so I don't know. I think this is probably the biggest concern I would think in this position group, and then probably corner. But if the guys can stay healthy, I mean they could be all right, but that's a big if at this point.
I will say this though. I'm making this prediction right now.
Oh, boy.
Trevor Wallace is going to be a stud.
Yeah, how many years?
I think he only needs 2.
He got some high praise. I don't know
Yeah.
in the blueprint from that All-Pro linebacker. I think he called Dan and during the draft and said, "You guys got the best linebacker in the draft."
Yeah.
So,
Leo Latu. Yeah.
yeah.
Bruh,
Yeah.
that boy hits
How many
hard.
sacks do y'all? Go ahead.
I was just saying that he hits hard, and as a guy who played defense, like when you see him play, he enjoys the game, bro. He enjoys the game. He loves hitting. I mean,
Facts.
you know, we talk about that dog factor. That guy got that dog factor. You know,
I wanted Edgerrin Cooper, man. That guy's a
Yeah.
How
dog.
many
I
sets
won't
you
want to play
in
against
unit?
him.
That's who me and Tony wanted.
I wanted
Yeah.
that Cooper guy
That's
that
exactly
Green
who
Bay
me and
got,
Tony
man, in the
wanted.
second
Yes.
round. That guy was a thumper.
Yes.
But we got Trevin.
Yes.
But
What does Trevin Wallace like? What
Well,
does
get
he
behind
not?
Trevin.
What does Trevin Wallace not do well? Like as somebody who like I
Yeah.
wasn't super familiar with him going into the
coverage,
draft.
coverage,
Is it
coverage.
coverage? That's where he
He
struggles. Okay.
struggles in coverage. He struggles in
Yeah.
coverage.
Everyone
Okay.
get him right.
Yep.
Everyone get him right.
But when you when you look at Trevin Wallace, though, in my opinion, he fits more of a mold of a downhill thumper. He
Mhm.
doesn't fit the mold to me of like a Shaq Thompson that can cover tight ends or running backs out the backfield on a sail route or something like that. You talking about someone that's very instinctive, that had that aggressiveness and will come down and smack you in the mouth. Like Doug said, we both wanted Edgerrin Cooper. Every mock draft
Yeah.
we was doing, every time we could talk about Edgerrin Cooper, we was like, man, get him, sign him, do whatever you gotta do, just get him. But when you talk about Trevin Wallace, I think a lot of these linebackers have something negative in their game. I don't think there's too many true all around linebackers. Even when they were talking about Peyton Wilson in the draft, yes, ran a 4.43 sideline to sideline, but he was not a downhill thumper. Okay, in this 3-4 defense, you need that downhill thumper. If you don't have a downhill thumper that supports that nose tackle, you will get ran on all day long. And I love he reminds me of a younger, bigger Brian Dawkins. Y'all remember Brian
Oh
Dawkins
my
played
God.
safety
Do
for
I?
Yeah.
the Eagles with that reckless abandon?
Yes, please.
That's who Trevin Wallace reminds me of, Brian Dawkins, man. And I love it.
Okay. That's
So
high
that's Hall of
praise.
Fame. So that's Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Easy.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're gonna have to clip that, but we're gonna have to clip that and make sure we hold on to that until next season.
Yeah.
All right,
I thought we got a dog,
cool
bro.
with me. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
but you
no
know
doubt.
what? I will say this. Okay, I'm having a little bit of a church moment back at Little Macedonia Baptist Church back home. Okay, I will say for everybody who knows the word of prayer, pray that our linebackers stay healthy, because if one of them gets hurt, you know what we have that's behind them. So hey, just bow your heads and say something.
I wish I
Whatever.
had a tambourine right now.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on. We're gonna get to the next question, and we're gonna talk about the defensive line. And Tony, go ahead, good buddy.
And Bryson, this one is for you. The first question about the defensive line. What are your overall expectations for our defensive line?
Yeah, I think, continuing off the conversation we were having about the edge rushers, I think that's the big question mark, right? Are they going to be able to get the pressures? Are they going to be able to get to the quarterback? I think Evero's system is really based off of the secondary and secondary playing coverage, allowing time for those edge rushers to get home. So they're they're giving that extra time to those edges to do that. As far as the inside of the line, I think Derek Brown, top 5 defensive tackle in the league. I don't want to hear no top 10 shit. He's top 5 and he's not 5. I'll
There
tell
you
you that
go.
right now.
Top 2.
Already.
What he did last season was just amazing on a team full of holes. He shined. He shined like a diamond, man, and that's what he is. He's the best player on this team at his position. A true leader. I think we've seen that through the blueprint episodes. The addition of Ashawn Robinson, anytime you can get a 6'3", 320 nose tackle that's won a Super Bowl, that has that pedigree. You add that to beside of Derek Brown. I don't know how they're going to be blocked. I really don't. I would not want to be lining up opposite of them on the interior, trying to stop them from getting my quarterback. So my overall expectations for the defensive line, I think they're going to have their struggles, especially on the edge for sure. But the interior, it's going to be much better against the run with that addition of Ashawn Robinson. And I think that's really was a focus of this front office, really getting better at stopping the run. And you add Clowney to that as well, setting the edge. Brian Burns definitely struggled in that area. Not too familiar with Wanham's game in regards to run defense, but I would hope that he's somewhat decent opposite of Clowney. So I think the line is a big question mark. I think I have more confidence. I think I differ from you guys. I have more confidence in the linebacking group than I do the defensive line at this point. So yeah, but any group with Derek Brown, I mean, they're going to get theirs. They're going to get theirs, and I think they have great leadership moving forward in that positional group.
I think it's fair to say that every Panther fan you talk to probably has a different group that they're high on and a different group that they're concerned about. And I guarantee you it'll differ from each person, each Panther fan you talk to. Like you said, you're high on the linebackers more than you are defensive line. I guarantee you, we go to training camp, somebody is in love with the defensive line and hates the linebackers. So
yeah, absolutely.
And my apologies, because I wanted us to talk specifically about the interior of the defensive line, because we just talked about the outside linebacker edge rushers. So I'm talking about the defensive tackles and nose guards.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, the other guy, because I'm big on, the guys that we picked. And, I'm just going to put this out there just as a statement. The other guy that I see that can be a dog on our team is Jaden Crumity.
Mississippi State.
Like, I mean, he shows a lot of promise to me, man. And if his game crosses over to the pros in college, again, one of the things that Dan Morgan that I love that he said when we took him on as GM is when he said, I'm going to go out there and get some dogs.
Facts.
Yep. Not guys to fill the position, but some dogs. And when I saw them go and pick who they picked in the draft, I was just like, they wasn't lying.
Yeah.
Comedy is going to be a problem, bro. And, I love when guys that work so hard that they put that pressure on the guys that's already on that line. And it's like, I'm telling you, bro, if you don't do your job, I'm going to be down there where you at. They're going to put me down there where you at. Put that pressure on them every day in practice. Put that pressure on them guys on the line. And then make it hard for the coach to be like, so today's starters, such and such, comedy. So whoever was there and they look up like, I ain't starting, coach? No.
Okay, but to that point that you just mentioned though, Tuan, whose spot is he taking? Because right now he's slated as a backup to H-Town Robinson. So you got Robinson,
Shy Tuttle.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Crummy doesn't play nose tackle. He doesn't play nose tackle.
Different position, yeah.
But
hey, put him over there and try him out.
You think if you put him down there, he ain't gonna play?
Hey, check out his Senior Bowl tape. Check out a little bit of his Senior Bowl tape. Hey.
See, they said put him over there and try him out.
Hey, look, I want to say Panther. We got some young Lions where I would say we got some young Panthers waiting in the distance, bro. When they get right, they get right. When
I feel you.
If we can get the fans to be like, just calm down. We ain't gonna get it right now, but it's coming.
It won't happen until it happens.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen until it happens. It absolutely will not.
It may not be with the guys we got now, but it's coming. And winning just applies pressure to people that so you just can't go over to the Carolina Panthers and get a check. You got to go over there and win.
There you go.
Yeah. That's the new mindset, Tuan.
Right.
That's the new mindset.
Facts. All right. Anybody else want to chime in on their overall feelings on the defensive line?
I just want to say one thing about Derek Brown. I think Bryson said he's top 5 and he's not 5, which I agree with. I knew he had a great season, but when I really looked into it, I was like, man, this dude, God, like he was a game record last year, despite us being such a, terrible team overall. Like the one thing, so I wasn't shocked by the fact that he was number 1 in tackles amongst D linemen, number 1 in assists. number one in run block win rate, which is like, okay, man, this dude's a monster. But then the thing that kind of surprised me was he was actually tied for 10th in pass rush win rate too, amongst defensive tackle. He didn't have the sack numbers, and people
Right.
like to focus on the sacks, but like though that's not necessarily, that does not encapsulate his impact on the game. Now, I think this year he could have a few more sacks if our team is better overall, but I just wanted to shout him out. Like, I think he might be like a top 2 or 3 defensive tackle.
But that's what I was gonna say. So doesn't that sound like top 3?
That sounds that sounds like it.
It ain't top 5. It's top 3 with all those number ones.
Yeah.
And I think some of the rankings they have him in are highly disrespectful. Highly disrespectful, but I ain't gonna get into that.
It's because of the team he plays with. That's why they,
Facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
that definitely has a lot to do with it.
Yep.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna get into another question about the defensive line. Go ahead, Tony.
All right, Curtis, this one is for you, my friend. The difference maker. Will the acquisition of Ashawn Robinson improve our run defense?
I think so. I mean, he's I think Bryson mentioned it, a couple other guys. He's a big motherfucker. Like, he's a big ass dude. And he's gonna finally, I think, shore up this D line when it comes to the run game. I know we were all tired of it, seeing the chunky run yard plays against this team over the last half decade. And I think he's finally going to shore that up along with Tuttle and Brown. And I think that's beneficial. He's learned some tools from some really good D linemen too in New York. So I think he can bring that and add that over. And then just his veteran leadership along that line, I think he's going to really help Tuttle out as well. Tuttle, I think, is really, I think we're going to see Tuttle progress this year even more because you got a Derek Brown, you got a Robinson alongside you. And I think you're going to really see that complement this D line, and we're going to see teams not be able to run it down their throats at ease, and will whenever they want. And I think that's going to be big for them going forward. And I think, honestly, the interior defensive line, personally, is the most complete group on the defense besides safety. I think those starters are going to have a major impact, and I think it can help out these corners and some of the guys in the back end with interior pressure, and then obviously help in the run game.
Yeah. Hey, now I do want to say something before anybody else goes.
Hey,
Did
can y'all hear me?
remember the clip from yeah, we can hear you, Doug. We can hear you, Doug. But I want
go
to.
ahead.
Did everybody
Go
see
ahead.
the clip? Did everybody see the clip from the blueprint where Ashawn was going up against Brady Christensen, and he said they went through the play, and Christian was like, oh, it's to see you tired. He was like, nah, bro. He said that's leverage. He said I had you right where I wanted you.
Yeah.
When you weren't gonna go this way, I'm gonna get you here. So my thing is, I'm hoping that he can bring that into our defense this year, because I think teams were going after Derek Brown a bit, even though like I said, he is a great player and he did get his, but I don't think it was from Shy Tuttle to Deshaun Robinson last year. The that part of the line just really, in my opinion, just really fell apart. And I think to the point where Shy Tuttle was on the bench every time the camera panned over, whatever channel the game was playing on. Then you saw LeBron Ray and Nick Thurman get in more later on in the season, which I think actually helped improve our run game, a run defense a little bit. But I'm hoping Ashawn can be that big player on the other side, and teams are like, all right, bet we're not going to be able to come at them like we did last year. So.
Well, yeah, and they can double up on Derek Brown. I mean, it's going to open so many things up along that line, I think, and that's an added plus, and that's where I think Ben mentioned you might see those sack numbers go up a little bit for Brown too this year.
So.
Yeah, that was one thing I was thinking. I think I can't remember if you said it, Curtis or Bryson, but when y'all was talking about Jadeveon Clowney seeing a lot of double teams, I think with Ashawn Robinson on one side, Derek Brown on the other, I don't think you're going to really be able to double team those defensive ends, because now you run the chance of leaving either one of those defensive tackles one on one. We already seen what Derek Brown can do in one on one situations. We already know how he can wreak havoc and destroy an offensive side of the ball, offensive side of the line. So I don't think Jadeveon Clowney is going to see a lot of double teams like some people may think, because if you was talking about last year and we had Deshaun Jameson and the only bright spot on that defensive line was Derek Brown, yeah, I would agree with you on that. But when you talking about Ashawn Robert, like I've been on high on this guy for like 2-3 years. I remember when he was a free agent a couple years ago, I was hoping we got him and we signed Matt Ioannidis instead. But you talking about Ashawn Robinson on one side, Derek Brown on the other, then you put Clowney in a healthy one if he's healthy. Like they said on the
Mm-hmm.
blueprint, I can't remember who had that discussion, but they was like, where they gonna run the ball? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
Because all these guys, if they're not great pass rushers, one thing they can do is stop the run. One of them is good at stopping the run. Clowney is good at stopping the run. Derek Brown needs no explanation, and Ashawn Robinson can stop the run. So with that, like you said earlier, Ben, that's going to free up Shy Tuttle to hopefully get back to the type of player he was in New Orleans when we signed him as a free agent. That's what I'm
Mm,
hoping to see.
that's good talk right
Oh
there,
yeah.
Tony. The
Yeah.
only issue. Well, I hope they all stop the run. I hope they all stop the run. That's what we're all
Yeah.
looking forward to, because Ashawn Robinson has a problem with getting to the quarterback. So I hope his pass rush is decent. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he hasn't recorded a sack in over 3 years, and that's just me just mixing it in and saying everything about him. But I I didn't really watch Ashawn like that, so that's why I was gonna ask y'all, how's his pass rush? You know, because I'm not always the biggest component person of getting sacks, because it seems like that's what
Right.
people judge you on when you're on the line. A good pass rush is just as good. Getting the ball out the quarterback's hands. How's his pass rush?
He's decent. His
Yeah.
pass rush is really no different from Derek Brown, but like Ben said earlier, you're not going to see it in the sack column, but you're going to see the disruption. You're going to
Okay.
see him taking on the double teams. You're going to be able to see him, plug the gaps, because in the 3-4 they play more head up or shade over than necessarily in the gap. But you're going to see him be able to take on double teams and things like that and be disruptive. So even if he's not getting the sacks, he's taking up double teams and it's allowing the linebackers to flow and pick up sacks. It's allowing that slot corner to dive in and pick up sacks. So they're going to create sacks for other players. You're not going to see a big sack number from him.
That's why I said hopefully the line. When we talked about the linebackers, man, I'm telling y'all, man, I love the game of football because it's such a complete science. Football is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Football is beautiful. Everything works the way it's supposed to. So if that line can't even get to the quarterback and they do what they're supposed to do on that line, then you don't have to have the greatest linebackers. Because who can't, if it's just a straight through line for you to go through, you know what I'm saying? Then it'll
Mm-hmm.
make you look better. I love the game of football is so pleasing on the eye and so good and so much of a science, which is why I can't stand it when they mess with the game and with all the rule changes and things like that. It's because it truly is the ultimate team sport, man. What I do can make CJ look good, and what he does can make Ben look good, and what Ben does can make Tony look good, and that's why I love the game of football, man. You know what I'm saying? Because
Let me
when it
find
works
out
like
you
a
fall in love
science,
all over again.
beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. When it's
You
working
want
like
us
a
to leave? You want
science,
us to leave you alone? You want us to
bro.
leave you alone?
Because when it's working like a science, and we saw that in 2015, how beautiful was that to watch?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh man,
Facts.
Don't nobody start tearing up now. Tuan
man.
up here.
I love the game. That's why I hate when they start
Got
changing
me a little
rules.
emotional.
Yeah, man. Leave the game alone, man. Just let it be what it is.
Facts. Facts. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Anybody else want to chime in on the Ashawn Robinson question in our run defense? All right, cool beans. Okay, couple more questions left, and I think this question here is going to be pretty much self-explanatory when we get into it. I'll put it up here. Okay, backup plans. All right, now how well? Okay, how well? And I'm just throw this out to everybody. How well has Dan Morgan addressed the depth on the defense? All right, just go ahead. Anybody want to chime in?
Go ahead,
I think he
Tuan.
did
You
a good
right there. Go
job.
ahead.
I think he
Oh,
did
go
a
ahead,
good
man.
job of I think some of the pieces we added that have familiarity with Evero's system, like we mentioned Jewel. There's also Jordan Fuller. We signed Nick Scott, right, at safety.
Yes.
We talked about Ashawn. Who else? Caleb Vaughn, Chason. We have no clue what that's going to look like. And then you talk about the guys we drafted. Like, I think he did a relatively good job of making some smart decisions. We trade Brian Burns. It's not a 1-for-1 replacement, but we bring in 3 guys actually in Clowney, Wanham, and Chazon to kind of make up for that departure. I like we talked about. I still want to add another cornerback. Gilmore. Come on, man! Like, come on home. But who made this point earlier? Somebody, I think it was Tuan. Somebody said like we spent so much money on the offensive side of the ball that like you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like
Can't
you
have it
gotta,
all.
yeah, you can't have it all. And they had to, absolutely, no question about it. Like we had to spend money on the offensive line. So I think for what Dan Morgan was handed, after the Scott Fitterer mess that was created, I think he did a pretty good job.
Okay.
Facts.
All right. Good. Anybody else want to chime in?
I think most of the people that he named were starters, though. I think the question was about depth. You know what I'm saying? What does our depth look like on defense? I think it's straight because I see young bulls coming up behind these guys, ready to take their spot. What we did in the draft, and I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to cut you or nothing, bitch.
All right, good night. I'll see you. No, I'm just kidding.
What you said was correct. I'm just, I think I think we got some good pieces in the draft, and the future can be set.
Yeah,
it can be. It just depends on what these guys want to do, man, or how hard they want to play.
Yeah. Hey, now I will say this one. Okay, I agree. I do think we got some good depth, but I hope they all get time to sit back and learn. I hope none of them have to be thrust into starting roles too early this season. All right, now injuries are going to happen. We can't avoid it. All we can do is hope that they don't happen. But something like I know we're talking about defensive side of the ball, but something like Zavala being thrust into the starting lineup last year on the other side of the ball didn't really pan out for him. If he would have had some more time to get acclimated to the system, it might have been a different situation. And I hope that's not going to be the case on the defensive side of the ball this year as well.
I know this ain't going to work either. I know this ain't going to work even before I suggest it. But when you guys watch the games, I'm not talking about these guys on the panel, but when you guys watch the games in preseason, don't be writing down, oh man, this guy sucks and blah blah blah. They're rookies.
Last year that wasn't the problem. That wasn't the problem. Tuan, last year we saw Icky, get whooped on the second play of the game against the Jets. He
almost
was our
got
starter.
Bryce killed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quentin Williams exposed us.
God.
Yes.
He exposed the hell out of us last year.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because when he was like, man, I had 10, 15 sacks. And everybody was like, man, he ain't had that many. It makes you want to scratch your head and be like, I don't know, dog. You might have had a good 10. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one of the things that, like, if I was there this year, I really want to see the battle in the trenches. I want to see how the offensive line come together. And I also want to see what Ashawn Robinson does alongside Derrick Brown and Shy Tuttle, because I think you go as far as your trenches go. They set the tone. You know what I mean? They set the tone in any football game. I don't care whether you run the ball or passing the ball. You got to have somebody that can apply pressure and stop pressure. So those battles are two that I would definitely love to see. I'll probably just jump kind of head when I mention that, but
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm gonna
It's all
stop.
good. We're gonna get there. All right.
You know why Bryce Young and Equano didn't work out last year. One of the reasons they didn't work out because they both had horrible footwork. Go back and look at Akeem Equano's footwork. He's constantly
Good point.
pushing off the wrong foot. How you gonna
Good
play
point.
left tackle and you pushing off on your right foot?
Yeah. Facts.
Hey, Tuan. Hey,
Facts.
we can have a technique drill on this all day.
Bruh, technique matters.
It does.
Oh my
It does.
God.
They both have
It
been
does.
taking
Oh
horrible
my
footwork.
God.
Mm-hmm. Bet. Okay.
So,
All right. Well, let's go ahead and slide on to our next question. And let me see. Throw this up here. And Bryson, let me give this one to you again, big dog. Rookie impact. Okay. Now that's drafted or undrafted. So which defensive rookie do you see having an impact in year one?
Yeah,
throw that back up there real quick. That question.
All right.
I think I'm gonna go with Chow Smith Wade. I really liked
Okay.
his tape coming out of school. He's probably going to have a hard time getting on the field with the depth that I assume he's going to be in the nickel position with Troy Hill, coming back on that contract. But I really thought he played well in college, and getting him in the fifth round, I was very pleased with. But I think if someone goes down with an injury, or maybe he just outplays Troy Hill and gets on the field. To Tuan's point, we have these young guys that are, biting at the bit to get on the field, and maybe he comes into camp and shows the coaches, yeah, I'm ready day one to play. So I like him a lot. And then I was just trying to be a little different. I do like Trevor Wallace. We've talked about him a lot today.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be a major contributor. One, based off the depth at that position, and two, I think it's just raw abilities. And like someone mentioned earlier, when Dan Morgan puts his name on the line to draft you, which many like media pundits said, like, oh, Trevor Wallace was like a fifth or sixth round pick, and they take him this high, and then you've got people calling you saying you took the best linebacker in the draft. I think I trust Dan Morgan to draft that position. If not any other linebacker, I feel like Dan Morgan has a good pulse on, just based off of his own history in the league. So I think Trevor Wallace and Chow Smith Wade are two players that are going to be contributors on this team for a long time. And I'm really hoping, I know Tuan likes him at least. I'm really hoping Jamie Robinson, I know he's not a rookie, but I was pretty high on him last year, and unfortunately he didn't get much playing time, whether that be the incompetence of the coaching staff or whatever it was last season. But Robinson, I think, is to Tuan's point, one of those dogs. Like, he's obviously got that confidence, and he is not afraid to square someone up and hit him. And I think that's exactly what this defense needs, that attitude. So I think there's a lot of young guys that have potential in this defense, and I think all they need is a chance, and I'm hopeful that they'll get that this year.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
I'll jump in.
If I could jump in.
Oh no, go ahead, Curtis.
I was just going to say, I also put Wallace up there, but just to be different, I think Michael Barrett could carve out a pretty nice role on special teams. I think that's where he's going to make his money. And he sounds like he's hungry to work just based off of some of the interviews. And I think he had a pretty good career at Michigan. And special teams is going to take on a pretty big role this year with all the rule changes. So I think this guy, like I said, he could carve out a nice role and be a difference maker. And then I don't obviously think he's going to maybe make a big impact in that linebacker room right now with the three guys ahead of him. But I do think his role could be cut out in special teams and he could shine.
I regret letting Curtis go because that was my choice. Damn it. I was going to choose Michael Barrett as well. But to piggyback off what Curtis said, I really do like Michael Barrett. And I did a little research on the dude. And did you guys know he played quarterback coming into college? Like coming into Michigan, he was a quarterback.
Yes.
And
he was a dual threat quarterback.
Yep, he was a dual threat, great quarterback in high school, bounced around to a bunch of different positions, finally landed at linebacker. To Curtis's point, like had a great career at Michigan. He's actually the all-time winningest player ever for Michigan.
Wasn't he a captain on the team last year?
He was. Yep, he was a captain.
He was there for 6 years, right? Because of
I think five.
The COVID season.
Was it 6?
I think he was there 6.
It may have been 6, 5 or 6, but yeah, he was there a long time. So I mean, obviously, like anybody that's there for that long and they've been on the team is going to be part of a lot of wins. But it's still impressive, and I like that. Long term, I think Trevin Wallace is absolutely like going to be the stickier guy. But like for now, Barrett's experienced. He's 24 years old. To Curtis's point, like contributing on special teams. And I think Tuan, you mentioned this earlier. Like he's versatile. Like he's played all these different positions.
Yep.
Yeah, hybrid. Like he can come in and make an immediate impact for sure. And it's probably going to be hard for him to break the rotation. To Curtis's point, but I'm excited about him being our last pick of this draft. So we'll see what happens.
But that's a baller. The dude played quarterback in high school.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Is a dual quarterback in college. And then you go to linebacker. And I was laughing when you started because I was just saying to myself, what if quarterback didn't work out for Bryson? Because you guys see him playing linebacker.
Stop.
No.
Oh my God.
TJ gonna take him off screen. Take him off screen, TJ.
Look, Tuan got sleepy now.
Never hear my guy going from quarterback to linebacker.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Hold on.
He's a baller.
There was one in North Carolina a couple years ago. It was one of the twins. I forgot his name.
Surratt.
Surratt. Chase Surratt. Remember?
Yeah.
He went from quarterback to linebacker at UNC. So it's not unheard
of.
In
the state.
Woo.
Out of Lincoln High School.
Yep. It didn't work out, and he moved to linebacker, and actually was a damn good linebacker too.
Same thing happened to his brother. His brother played wide receiver, went to Wake Forest, but then he played something else, he's playing something else in the league. Yeah, the Surratt brothers.
No, hey, he's UFL. His brother's not in the NFL anymore.
Neither one of them is?
No. Chaz, the one from UNC is, but the brother from Wake Forest is in the UFL. He plays wide receiver.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, I did want to bring up two people that I am looking forward to see if they can have an effect, and that's let me see, big Popo Amave. I hope I'm saying his name right. And Alumu Ale. I hope I'm saying his name right too. They're both undrafted free agents. Popo is from Oregon, and Mr. Ale is from Washington. And I always say this because it seems like Evero does not like the he doesn't like the bigger defensive tackles, and sometimes I'm wondering if that's maybe like the Aaron Darnold effect, because he was out there with them, and these guys are Aaron Darnold. But a few years ago, me and Tony were really happy when Marquand McCall made the team. We always gave him the nickname Big Snacks, because he was about 6'4", 355 pounds. That was a big dude. And we were sad. And we were sad to see him get cut last year. But again, you got Shy Tuttle, who's like 6'2" or so, 305 pounds. So you got a couple guys here, got a little more weight to them. So that's what I'm interested to see, because I do think that spot is going to be one that's going to be under the microscope a little more than what we think.
So you don't think it's solidified right now, CJ? You think there's some opportunity that he can
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Hey, let me tell you, he said dogs. He want competition at every position. Dogs.
Yeah,
yes,
facts.
Exactly. All right.
Facts.
Okay, y'all. We'll go ahead and move on to our
quick thing, CJ, too.
Yeah, go ahead, Tuan.
Quick thing, CJ. And can we give a round of applause to Canales or whoever the coach was, for whoever those guys were that came into camp out of shape, came back out of shape, for
Yeah,
immediately cutting ties with those guys, bro. Can we
yeah.
give it up for that? You know what I'm saying? Because
Round
we
of
never seen
applause.
that before.
Big
You know
facts,
what I'm
Carl.
saying? You know what I'm
Big
saying? And if
facts.
you ain't gonna be no dog, look, Carolina is no longer the spot. Carolina is no longer the spot where you just come and get a paycheck.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Yo,
Hey, I got you, Tuan.
I was so happy when I heard that and I read that report. I was
Bro.
like, wait, they did what? And they were so low key with it too.
Mhm.
Like it wasn't nothing that that was like really out there. Like they was low key with it. And I like the fact that listen, they created a new standard. What you may have known of Carolina beforehand, or what you may have been used to beforehand, it's a new sheriff in town. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna do things my way, or you gonna hit the highway. And I love it.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
I know those players was like this. You got cut. Why you packing your bags, bro? Canales ain't playing, bro.
Facts. Big facts.
Morgan ain't
All right.
playing.
Exactly. All right. So we're gonna go to our last question here. Okay, and this one is camp battles. Okay. Do you guys see any potential camp battles that intrigue you? And if you do, what are they? And just go ahead. Anybody want to start off?
I'll go first
I
as
think
I'm
I
up here on
think
the
oh
screen.
yeah, go ahead.
So camp battle. Oh man.
On the defense,
I
sorry.
I think I think there's going to be more so of a battle than most people think at that second cornerback position. You know, I think it's J.C. Horn and everybody else with
Mm-hmm.
Dane Jackson slightly ahead, but he gonna have to hold it. You know what I'm saying? Like we gave you a contract to come in and compete to potentially be the number 2 corner, but I don't think it's etched in stone that he's going to be the number 2 corner. So when them guys talk about they want competition at every position, me and CJ, we talked about this a lot. We was like, hey, when the head coach and the GM talk about creating competition, that's a benefit for everybody. That's a chance for everybody to get better, and the cream is
Mm-hmm.
going to rise to the top. So whoever that second corner is, hey, my hat's off to you because they're gonna have to go out there and earn it because it's crowded over there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hey, one name to keep in mind: the rookie. I think it's the CIAA Defensive Rookie of the Year. The man with two
Willie
first
Drew,
names, Willie Drew.
Exactly.
Virginia State, stand up.
Willie Drew. Go
Shout
go
out to
ahead,
Willie
Curtis.
Drew.
Yeah, I took battles as literal. So I'm going like I want to see J.C. Horn against Deontay Johnson. I'm excited for that. I'm
Yes.
excited to
Yeah,
see Clowney against Iquanu and put him on skates. I mean, I'm
That
sure that's
part.
going to happen. And then I really want to see what Corbett does against Derek Brown in the center and in the middle, and going up against Shia Tuttle and some of those big dogs up front because Corbett, guy hasn't played, started a game at that position, and those are some of the
Mm-hmm.
premier matchups I want to see. We're talking all this, we have a really good D line, interior D line. Let's see what Corbett can do against those guys in those
Ooh,
dog
boy.
days of summer there.
Facts.
fact.
Facts.
Yeah,
Ben
keep
Bryson.
Horn. Let's keep Horn off the field. Let's not let him cover Deontay Johnson, please. I'm good. He's good. We know what he's got. He does not need to be going up against that route running because Deontay Johnson is not the guy to get your practice in against. He's as we all know, one of the best route runners in the league. So I agree. I was going to say cornerback too. I really love Deshaun Jameson. I'm super high on him. He's got the pedigree of being a return man. He's got the ball skills. And I think last season, of course, he signed from the practice squad. I think in San Francisco, came in like I mentioned earlier, had a hell of a game versus Justin Jefferson. I think he's only going to continue to get better, and I think he's really going to challenge Dane Jackson for that cornerback too. They did pay him, which we talked about, Dane Jackson, to come in and be that cornerback too. But if someone's playing better than you, it doesn't matter how much they're making. They're going to be on the field. So I'm really high on Deshaun Jameson, so I would say keep an eye on him.
They should be, Bryson. They should be.
That's true.
Should be on the field.
That's true.
If they're playing better, they should be. But we know all the bureaucrats of the NFL, and I'm gonna I pay CJ $20 million, and you can't get it out of him if you ain't even got it in him. You gonna earn this $20 million.
That's good. That is good. Anybody else?
What position battle did you want to see?
That I want to see?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like my man just said, I know what I don't want to see. I don't want to see Horn covering DJ Johnson. We'll never get to see him during the regular season. Yeah, man, I mean, he said everything that, I want to see. I mean, really. I just want to see the boys compete, man.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Facts.
The only thing I put in there, and y'all know I got to be me by saying this.
Go ahead.
We talking defense, man.
Yeah, I knew you were going with that one.
Thank you.
I just wish I got a certain somebody, some actual competition.
Okay.
I already knew you down with that one, Tuan.
I don't think he's afraid of the guy behind him.
I know where we're going. We appreciate you sticking to the script.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tuan. We appreciate you.
Exactly.
Hey, y'all. We greatly appreciate everybody that's joining us. The hundreds of y'all that are watching on X right now, and everybody that's watching on YouTube, we definitely appreciate y'all. This was a great night. We thank everybody who showed up. We thank everybody in the chat. We thank y'all for y'all support. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. But first, I'm going to pass it off one at a time. Everybody, let the people know where they can find you, and any other tidbits you want to put in there. The floor is yours. Go ahead. Ben, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. Just thanks again, man. Thank you guys. This was awesome. Really have a lot of respect for all of you guys. So this was a blast. You can find us. We're on YouTube. Just type in Keep Purring, a Carolina Panthers podcast. Audio, you go to Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. If you want to look me up on Twitter, I got my Twitter handle right there. Keep Purring, Ben. Our podcast has been a little touch and go lately. We haven't been super active, but we're going to get back on the grind here pretty soon. But yeah, just thank you so much. This was a blast. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, man.
All right, Curtis, go for it, big dog.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone in here, not only the hosts, but all the content creators. Keep doing what you guys do. Don't stop the content across the board. So we do appreciate everyone, and hopefully we can get some of you guys on our podcast as we get into training camp here, because I'd love to chop it up with all y'all. But Panthers on tap across the board, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And hopefully we see some of you guys at training camp. Don't be a stranger. Come say hi, and we'll talk and talk some shit and have fun with it.
All right, there you go. All right, Bryson.
Yeah, thank you guys again, man. I had a blast on here. You guys are hilarious, and I'm happy to put some faces to names on Twitter. I'm part of Panthers on Tap as well. The other half of it, we're on YouTube. You can find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. On Twitter, I go by Not Dave Canales. That's my own Twitter account, separate from Panthers on Tap, so you can find me there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing some of you guys at training camp.
Bet. All right, Tuan Don.
Hey man, I'm fans of all of y'all, man. I follow all of y'all. You guys are all great content creators. Man, one things I heard from the great Cody Lack over there at C3s, he said, rising tides lift all boats, man. And we have to understand that we're all in this together, man. You know what I'm saying? And we're here to uplift each other and support each other's content. You know what I'm saying? I look forward to working with all of you guys in the future. I got my Tuan Don versus everybody is coming back up. A lot of people have been intriguing about that, so people can get inside of not just your football life, but your personal life as well a little bit, as much as you're willing to tell, man. Look, man, you guys have been a great panel. I had a great time, bro. You guys did a great job, man. You know what I'm saying, over here with this one right here, man. It was incredible. I check all you guys out from Panthers on Tap with the two mugs clashing against each other. That's how I see y'all on Twitter and all that, man. And I think I've talked to all of y'all except Panthers on Tap. So it's good to put a face to the names, man. But Tony and CJ, C Dougie, y'all did a great job, man.
Appreciate you, my guy.
Oh, and the next person up again, shout out to our brother from another channel, okay? To What's Up, Doug.
From another channel.
Our brother from another channel.
Mr. Clancy been all night.
No, runs. Like somebody try to hack my internet. Like somebody try to hack my internet.
Oh wow!
Dang.
Well,
me and CJ were behind.
Well, look like they still at it, though.
Look like they did it.
They probably did, man.
I'm sorry,
They
Doug.
probably did.
I'm sorry,
Oh
Doug.
God!
All right.
Teleporting.
I'm sorry.
I'll read some of the comments. Go ahead,
Tony,
man.
you got anything to say, big cuz?
Nah, hey, man, hey, I greatly appreciate all you guys. When I reached out to you guys, there was no hesitation. You guys like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm down with it. So this is something that me and C Dougie talked about when we came up with this idea. Well, more so Doug came up with the idea, and we collaborated on probably about like a month ago, right after we did the sophomore round table with you, Tuan. And
Great
we
job,
knew
man. Great job.
exactly, like Doug said, Monday night we knew exactly who we wanted. We wanted a variety of Panther content creators, people that we didn't necessarily know and that we didn't talk to on a regular basis. So we wanted to get everybody opinion. Like I said, I follow all you guys on Twitter. I don't interact a whole lot like I should, but I'm always mindful and always careful about who I select and pick to do things like this. So I'm glad that we had an opportunity to have a great show Monday and Wednesday night. Big shout out to my little big cousin over CJ for narrating in the background. He does a lot of work, man, for two fans in the stands. A lot of advice that he give other content creators. So I want to give him a big shout out as well, man. So thank you guys all for coming out tonight. I greatly appreciate it.
Right. Thank you, cuz. Thank you. I appreciate it. And we also wanted to say thank you to Miss Sheena Quick, who joined us earlier. If you showed up late, you
Yes.
missed it. Okay. She is as advertised, and she was great. She had to she couldn't stay long.
Hilarious.
Okay, she couldn't stay long. But thank you to her for coming and stopping through and showing all of us some love.
Shout out to
We
Sheena,
wanted
bro.
to also say we appreciate everybody who chimed in on night one. Okay, we thank all the
Right.
panelists that came on night one. Thank everybody here on night two that made this a success. We greatly appreciate you. And I see everybody in the comments, and I see people saying we need to do this again. Well, you know what? By the grace of the good Lord, and if He let us be here long enough, damn it, we're gonna do it again. Okay, we're just gonna find another topic to talk about. All right. So I just wanted to say thank y'all, everybody that showed up. We love you. We appreciate you. Make sure you go and check out everybody on the panel. Go to their Twitter page, go to their YouTube page, like, subscribe, follow, turn on those post notification bells so you know when we drop any and everything Panthers related. Okay. And we appreciate you. All right. And if you're new to the channel, all right, I always like to take you out with 3 things. Okay. Number 1, y'all be good. Number 2, y'all be safe. And number 3, as always, just like my shirt say, hey, keep pounding, man. We'll see you. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, guys.